Hey y'all, JaemiO here, and it is Brew Review Day. So every Thursday I do a review of a craft beer. Not necessarily always a craft beer, but usually a craft beer. So this week I'll be reviewing a beer from O'Connor Brewing in Norfolk, Virginia, and it is called O'Connor Zephyrweisse. It's a Hefeweizen beer. So there you go. It's one of the most beautifully designed beer bottles I've ever seen. So a little bit of background before I get started. So O'Connor Brewing is located in Norfolk, Virginia, like I said before. Started by a guy named Kevin, who was encouraged by his wife to just pursue his dream. So reading their backstory and learning a little bit about them, Kevin actually did one of his senior papers or something like that or thesis or something of that nature on beer, on home brewing, and so I thought that was pretty cool. So his wife really encouraged him because he just kept talking about beer to really delve into what he really enjoyed, and so I think that's pretty cool. So he started O'Connor Brewing, not sure when they opened, but it was sometime in the last less than 10 years. So anyway, the first beer I had from O'Connor Brewing was actually at a beer tasting at a restaurant in Richmond, Virginia, and it was amazing. It was actually called Great Dismal, and I love dark beers. This was a dark IPA. It was delicious. It still is one of my absolute favorite beers. Actually, if I see it on someone's tap list or on someone's menu or something like that, like that's my go-to beer. I don't see it that often, so hint to any restaurants or bars out there, like please show this beer some more love because it's great. So, with that said, let's get into what a Hefeweisse is. So, like I said, this is called the Zephyrweisse. Zephyr actually means, I think, like cool breeze or something like that. I guess that's why he has like this god or something on the bottle. I don't know if you can see it, but he's like blowing the wind. It's very beautiful. And Weisse refers to wheat. So it's a Hefeweisse, meaning it is a wheat beer. So in German, Hefe basically means with yeast. Weisse means wheat. So it's basically just a wheat beer with yeast. So basically it can be any range of beers brewed with grains that used, or a grain mix that had about 30 to 70% of wheat. So obviously, if you're a person who has celiac or something like that, don't drink this beer. And later on, I'll kind of share a little bit about, like, there's more beer than you think that you can drink if you have celiac. So if you are gluten-free. With that said, I will also have a video about being gluten-free because it's not something trendy. People who have to be don't really want to be most of the time. So, yeah. Anyway, so let's get into this beer. So, open it up. You know you're a foodie when you have a pizza cutter that's also a beer opener. So I actually have a mug for this beer. I don't really like drinking my bottle beer out of a glass, but I know some people are kind of sticklers for what does it taste like without the bottle or without the can. Now, if I have a canned beer, I do prefer to drink it in the bottle because it tastes more like it was on tap. And I prefer tap beer overall. I think that's when it tastes the best. But just so people will know, I don't really taste a whole lot of difference between in the bottle versus in the glass, but just to have a fairness for beer enthusiasts, I will do both. So first sip, though, is going to be out of the bottle. So let's see. It's actually really good. So wheat beer is actually very clean tasting. It's very, not neutral tasting because you can definitely taste the fruitiness. This kind of has like hints of banana. Actually, it kind of tastes like a lighter version of Albino Monkey by Zephyrweisse. So on the one hand, it tastes entirely different from Albino Monkey, but on the other hand, like if they were to go a little less, I think, hoppy with Albino Monkey, I think it would taste like this. It's actually really good. So hold on. So while I'm kind of letting my taste buds chill out before I do the mug test, a little more about this beer. So it's actually got a 4% ABV, so alcohol by volume. So basically that just tells you how strong the beer is as far as alcohol content, and I think it has 18 IBUs. Yeah, it's 18 IBUs, which means International Bittering Unit. So IBU scale can go anywhere from, I think, 1 to 100. Some scales go up to 120. And basically that just tells you how bitter the beer is. So something I didn't know until recently, because I love dark beer. I don't really, like, I'm getting more into IPAs, but I'm not really a huge IPA fan, especially like double IPAs. But, so darker beers actually tend to have a higher amount of IBUs. So that means that they should be more bitter. However, normally darker beers are a lot more subtle. So they're not subtle as in, like, because they're pretty strong, but like they're not as bitter. They're more sweet. You taste more of the chocolate notes, more of the coffee notes. And that's one of the reasons I really like them. I like chocolate. I like coffee. So the malt presence in the darker beers basically mellows out the hop presence. But anywho, so let's try the beer in the mug. So just for those who just pour their beer in a glass, pour it against the side. Now, Hefeweisses do have, or any wheat beer does usually have a much thicker head. Even from just pouring that a little bit, I can see like a little bit of a head, but they have a much thicker, frothier head on the beer. So if you're a person that likes a thick head, maybe you really like wheat beer. So if that's something you like, go for that. So next thing, wheat beers usually pretty clear but cloudy. So like they're cloudy, but they kind of almost look like, like a apple cider or something like that. So let's try it out. Now, honestly, I will say in the mug, I get more of the crisp cleanness first and less of the fruity aromas. I get the fruity aromas at the back end versus in the bottle, I got the fruity aromas up front and the crispness at the back. So a lot of people that really, really like wheat beers, like I have a friend that loves wheat beer, and if they drink it in a bottle, they'll or drink it out of a bottle, pour it into a glass. They'll pour it in the glass like halfway, like half of the beer, and then kind of swish it around so they can get like all the yeastiness and then put it in the beer. And honestly, I don't really know how that affects the flavor. I'll have to ask them, but I know it makes it more cloudy. So anyway, this is pretty much all I have about this beer. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely give this one a 10. Like, I really, really like this beer. I haven't had anything from O'Connor that I don't like. Definitely going to have to do a tour down there. And that's what I was going to say. So I did read on their website that they actually do tours every, I think, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during tasting room hours. And you can also schedule for individual tour dates. So definitely something I will be doing on probably one of our first Friday Taste With Me brewery tours. So looking forward to that. As always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please also subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and turn on your notifications via clicking the bell. And last but not least, a special thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. See y'all next time.